Welcome to Sales Meeting, everybody. Another week, another Monday, ready to get going. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Can't believe we're already last week of February. So we got about 5 more weeks of OEP, of open enrollment left. So let's get into it. So thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, just this decides if it wants to work or not. I wanted to talk about momentum. And I've talked about this before at Sales Meeting, but I think momentum is really a huge determinant of people's success, right? And one of the interesting things about momentum is it works in both ways, right? Either in a positive direction and growth, and it also works in a negative way and kind of spiraling out of control and heading in a direction that you don't want to go to. There's a million examples of momentum. One of my favorite examples is in sports, and especially little kids sports. I've coached soccer, baseball, football, flag football for 15, 16 years. And I love these little kids because however momentum goes, that's basically how the game goes, right? If something good is happening for them at the beginning of the game, it usually kind of continues. If something bad happens, usually it continues that way. Because these young kids, one of the things they don't know is how to manage their state of mind, how to manage their momentum. And it really plays into your whole life, right? It plays into your relationships, your career, your physical fitness, your decision making, your happiness. Momentum is usually going one way or the other, right? And there's a saying that I love, it says success loves growth and speed. Well, what does that mean? When you have momentum on your side, it seems like things are just going better, going easier, right? When maybe you've got a personal life, you're dating or things are going well in a relationship, you have that momentum in the relationship. If you're in a business, maybe things are going well for you, you're winning, you're growing. Momentum works for you in that direction. If you're doing sales, everybody's had one of those instances where you're on fire, right? You're saying the right things, you're on a heater, you're closing people, you're just out there, right? Maybe my kids sometimes think they're feeling themselves and they think they got riz, as the kids would say, and they think they have that momentum on their side, right? So momentum is key to having any sort of success, and it also compounds the growth and speed of the way things are going in your life. I love this saying too. What is the momentum of your decisions? Because really in our lives, that's what creates it, right? Is a compounding of the decisions that we're making. And, let's just take, for example, somebody who's not motivated right now. They wake up late. They barely can get themselves out of bed. They eat a bad breakfast. They doom scroll all day on social media. Their relationships aren't going well. They don't like what they're doing for their career, for work. They're unhappy. Consequently, they start making poor decisions. They're making poor life choices, poor health choices. Maybe they don't care at work or what they're doing. And the compounding effect of that decisions takes them in one direction, right? Contrast that with somebody else. Maybe they're, waking up early. They've got a routine that they're sticking to in the morning. They're happy, they're motivated. They're feeding their mind, body, and brains with something happy and positive, uplifting every day. They show up at work. They put their best foot forward in their business or in their career. They're winning, right? All those things compound over and spill over into their lives and their decisions. They start making, decisions. Maybe you start deciding that you want to focus a little bit more on personal improvement. Maybe you want to get your fitness in order. Maybe you want to course correct some aspects of some of the relationships in your life that aren't quite in order. So you see, momentum is really accumulation of your decisions. And that's one of the things that I ask myself all the time is right now, what is the accumulation, the momentum of the decisions that I'm making in a day-by-day basis? Am I choosing to, do the things that are in line with the goals that I have for myself this year, or am I not? And then it's very easy to course correct and correct those things, get back on track. But you have to pay attention to the momentum of where your decisions are taking you. The other thing too is you have to be in some sort of state of activity, of proactivity to maintain any momentum in your life, right? And this goes for any of those things I talked about, whether it be in your business, in your career. Most people, I guess you'll say, if you're lazy in any of those things, you're not going to have momentum in any of those areas in your life, right? It's hard to be fit and healthy if you're lazy. It's hard to be successful at work or in a business or in a career if you're lazy. It's hard to have a successful relationship if you don't care, if you don't put forth any effort, right? So momentum is huge. The benefits, obviously, it creates a positive feedback loop for you, right? When you're doing well, when you've got momentum on your side, especially I had an example here in sales, like we talked about, when you all are doing well, when you're doing the right things, when you're staying up to date on industry changes, when you know what's going on, when you're paying attention, when in sales meeting or whatever, you're listening, you're learning, you have a direct positive feedback loop with the momentum, meaning you're getting more sales, right? And we'll wrap this meeting up today, and I'll put up the leaderboard, and you can just look. And one of the reasons why we do that is you can see very obviously who has momentum on their side. And I don't even have to look. I can tell you that the same 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 people are going to be on that are on it all the time because they live in that perpetual state of momentum, right? They're able to keep that going. Well, how do they do that? They built that through habits and effort. That's it, right? They show up every day. They have those habits, that consistency, and then they put in effort every day. And if you don't, if you show up, you don't care, you had a bad day, you're just kind of going through the motions, you're just going to, I don't know, I'll show up and I'll click the dial, or I'll make a couple calls, or I'll see what happens today, right? You're not in a state of momentum ever, and it's hard to get there. And then once you are there, you have to sustain it through consistency, right? Same thing goes for like physical fitness. There's been those of us who have been in great shape before, and then if you don't maintain it, if you don't maintain that effort, what happens? Go in the other direction. You're either growing or declining. There's no in between, right? So you can see that sustaining that momentum happens through consistency. And then momentum continues to grow with progress, right? Literally, let's use the analogy I've been talking about with fitness. People talk about gains, like in the gym, you're going for those, Tate's laughing, he's going for those gains right now. You see small, measurable, actual physical changes, gains. You get stronger, you get faster, you get more fit, you lose weight. You can see an actual progression with the momentum there. That same effect happens in your personal lives and in your career, in your relationships, and in your production with business as well. You get metaphorical gains in those aspects as well too. They're just maybe sometimes harder to observe. And then this kind of grows, guys. Like there are people that I look up to, my mentors, people that I see in business, and I'm like, how the hell do you do so much? How do you maintain that level of consistency? How do you produce so much? How do you keep so much going in your life? How are you so successful? And it really is because they're able to stay in that highly productive state of momentum, right? And it continues to grow. And then as you've kind of learned how to do this, how to stay in these states of momentum, it's also a lot easier to maintain that and to get back on track when maybe you fall off for a little bit. People who have kind of mastered this, they don't fall very far for too long, right? They don't go the other way before they course correct. And what happens is when you can master this, when you can stay in that high state of momentum, success becomes inevitable, right? And whatever your goals are, whatever you're trying to accomplish, when you're doing the things that you need to consistently day in, day out over time, and you are staying in that flow state, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish is going to happen. It just might take longer than you think, but success becomes inevitable, all right? How do you change your state of mind, right? Regaining focus and momentum. This is maybe one of my favorite pitchers of all time. I love Tom Brady. You guys know I've talked about him a million times before. But this, if anybody ever paid attention to sports, especially over the past 10 years, you probably recognize this pose. This particular picture was in the Super Bowl where the Patriots were down 20-0. I believe right after this, he just thrown a pick six, an interception, and it looked like they sucked. They were going to lose, right? Huh? Yeah, against your boy, Matty Ryan. I don't how you ever became a fan of him, I'll never know. So people loved to celebrate this image when he would do this because they thought he was being like sad, right? That he was like dejected. But really what Tom Brady would do in this state was he was regaining his momentum. He was refocusing, he was resetting mentally. He would actually sit like this, like Tony Robbins talks about, being in a physical state. He would do that, he would breathe, he would box breathe, and he would reset his mind. And right after that, in this particular game, they actually went down 28-3 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and they still came back and won, like the greatest Super Bowl, one of the biggest comebacks in sports history. And if this guy wouldn't have known how to manage his state, get that momentum back on his side, then that would have never happened, right? And that game became one of the biggest examples of momentum shifting. All of a sudden, one or two plays happened, momentum shifted, and because that other team knew who this guy was and how many times he'd done it before, all of a sudden the doubt started creeping in their mind, and then conversely, the confidence started growing on this team, and they were able to make this massive epic comeback based solely due to the changing of momentum. And in this particular moment, when this guy would do this, he would change his state. So it's really important, if you're feeling like in your life, even day-to-day basis where things are kind of out of control, do something to reset your state of mind, your energy, and get that momentum back on your side. And it doesn't have to be, this year-long or years-long process. It can happen instantly in your own day, right? So that's kind of my message on momentum, guys, is it's often talked about, very easy to understand, but one of those things where it's hard to actually apply how to live in that. But the longer and the more consistently that you can all live in that state of momentum or a flow state, the more success you're going to have, the happier you're going to be in your life, the better your relationships are going to be just by simply managing that momentum in your life, right? So let's get into trainings. Couple of things. I'm going to put out a big training this week. I got to sync up with the leadership, sales leadership, and find out a time, but it's going to be all hands on deck, and I'll talk about it in a moment. But before we go there, last year our theme of the year was be a great agent. It's kind of the same this year, be a great agent, but we're really focusing on effectuation, the policies that you're writing that are going into effect. I had a training with some of our managers last week, and if you write a policy and it doesn't go into effect, what is it? It's a fart in the wind, okay? Sorry for the crude reference, but if we're writing policies that are not going into effect, it's nothing, right? If you guys are writing policies that you're not being thorough with the application, you're not properly explaining everything, you're wrapping up those calls and the clients don't really have an idea what they're signing up for, what they're enrolling in, there's probably a pretty good chance that it's not going to go into effect. And again, we've talked about it last week, but if it's a sub 15-minute enrollment, you probably have something to look at, right? Sub 20-minute enrollment, and we are looking at those. We want to make sure that you're doing a good, thorough job and that people understand, right? We are licensed insurance agents. We're licensed professionals. Each one of you has a fiduciary duty. What does that mean? A legal, financial, and ethical combined duty and responsibility to these clients, to the insurance carrier partners we work with, and ultimately the state regulatory bodies that manage us to do a good, thorough job, right? We're not selling, I don't know, what's something junky that somebody sells? I've sold lots of vacuums. Solar. Well, no, solar, yeah. Timeshares. We're not selling some crappy, I'm like, I'm I sold vacuums, right? Like really expensive vacuums door to door. That was probably one of the worst things I sold. They were highly priced healthcare devices, but they were really vacuums. Anyone sold those before? All right, I love it. Yeah, I love it. So, effectuation, guys, write good quality business. If you're writing stuff and it doesn't go into effect, you just wasted your time. If anything, you might have opened yourself up for a CTM, a complaint. Don't write bad quality business. Do a good, thorough job. We don't need to keep going into some of the other things that you can keep doing to improve your effectuation. We're going to keep hammering that until it gets better. Collectively as a company, I want to move the needle by about 5 to 10% over the next month or two. All right, this is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to do a big training on this because it's become very, very evident to me as a company at large, anybody doing sales virtually or remotely, we're doing a really, really poor job of managing lead management and pipelining. And what I mean by that specifically, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because, like I said, we're going to do an hour and a half long training for everybody. But what is this right here? Rocket what?
CRM.
What's a CRM?
Client relationship manager. Customer relationship management. Different versions of the same thing.
Okay, so client relationship manager, right? So we're managing leads. What I'm finding we're doing as a company is essentially not doing any of this, right? You guys, especially our W-2 channel, LOAs out there, there is absolutely very little effort. And I take responsibility for this because I thought we were doing a lot better job of this, and our leadership and training needs to be teaching this and hammering it better. But guys, the point is, if we're working on, doing virtual work or calling people, there are plenty of people that we're just not following up with, right? And where this kind of came to a head for me is all these people that are turning 65 on the Kate agents or the Ambetter agents, and we're hearing, oh, these leads suck, I can't write anybody right now. What? Those are the gold standard of leads. Those are the best. Turning 65s, people aging in are the bread and butter of our industry. And they're going to become increasingly important as we potentially have a little bit of a drop-off on available SEPs. And so we collectively need to get really good at pipelining and managing our business, right? And I don't know if maybe, we kind of got off track here a little bit as a company, but our goal for our virtual teams, I don't want you guys all grinding your fingers off, dialing people 8 hours a day, all day, every day, never having any reprieve from that, right? That gets exhausting. It really does. That should be what we're doing once we've done all of our other good work, all of our other follow-up, once we've, managed our leads, once we've checked in with our follow-ups and things like that. I know that most of you probably don't want to grind on an auto dialer for 8 hours a day, all day, every day, but we're doing it a stupid way. We're not pipelining anything. We're not following up with anybody. We're not using a CRM, customer relation, client relation management. We're not actually doing any of that. We're living hand to mouth as a company every day, where we're just cold prospecting something where we have to start over from scratch every single day. Now, I know that there's a better way to do it, and we're going to really teach that. Make sure you guys are pipelining. We're going to go back and make sure that if you're on the W-2 channel, that we know legitimately when you're, the handle or the disposition is rocket or whatever. But we're focusing on the wrong things, the wrong metrics, right? I don't really care about statuses and handle times and all that crap. I don't even want to look at any of that, ever. What I care mostly about is what? How many people are we helping? How many people are we enrolling? That's the main metric that we care about, right? So we're going to really dive in and focus on how to actually use the CRM as an actual CRM. And I promise it's going to help all of you be happier, make more money, help more people, be more successful. Okay? Another thing, we've been working on this for a long time. Nico's done a fantastic job of building what we're calling the Agent Boost Community Center, and it's built into Rocket CRM. Have you guys looked at this yet or got the email invitation for this? So we're gonna continue to roll this out, but inside of the CRM, Nico's built this community where we can do announcements, we can have posts. This is basically gonna be the training center, the live environment, the Agent Boost Community Town Center, so to say, for information. We're gonna be able to put key critical information, house it here, have access to trainings, videos, in addition to Slack, right? Slack's really good for quick communications collectively and messaging out to everybody, celebrating things, wins, things like that. But where we're gonna house all the long-term stuff, the documents, the trainings, it's all gonna go into this community center, okay? You can, already right now it's broken down to announcements, sales expertise questions, Medicare. I'm sure these will change a little bit. But ultimately there's some gamification too. There's like leaderboards for who is the most expert. I'm sure Brian will be into that. We'll jump him right up to the top as the expert. Maybe some of you guys that can contribute and help and share best practices. I would really want this to be the town center of Agent Boost as a collective for all of our agents to share best practices, tips, tricks, and training, okay? So this is something that we're gonna continue to message out. Once again, guys, agent referral bonus. So Nico is going to put in here, he's gonna put an announcement where you can sign up for the link. There's like an affiliate link to refer people out that will automatically track any referrals you have. So if you have somebody that wants to become an agent, 1099, or they apply for a job and we hire them, once they become active again, we'll pay you a $500 referral bonus. This is a great way to make some extra money. Those of you, every insurance agent knows other insurance agents from somewhere, for sure. You know, I remember one year when I was doing door-to-door sales, they had a $500 referral bonus. So I was like, oh, I'll take advantage of this. I made 10 grand in one year. I mean, Brian remembers that. Like I brought Dan into the industry. I brought Seth Cottle that's here in the industry. I brought all my friends into the industry. We all started doing, that's how we all got doing door-to-door cable together. I was getting a $500 bonus on that. So I had a good part-time gig doing that. Okay, we've got this Agent Elite training, guys. Just a reminder, it's happening in Tampa here in about 3 weeks. And if you have anybody that wants to go to this, 1099 agents, this is really, you know, I guess you could call it how to build your business, how to survive as a 1099, what are some of the best practices, what are some of the ways that agents are selling and making and having success right now in 2025. And again, high correlation of agents that go to that and success. So if you know anybody that wants to go to that, Tampa, and then the following month, we're going to be doing that here in Utah again. Okay, so massive updates. So this has been it's always designing the trip qualifications, guys, is always really hard, right? You're designing them based on the carriers that are providing incentive money, co-op money, where it makes sense financially to be able to pay for a trip like this, what you think are reasonable qualifications. You want to try to make it so it's a stretch for some people, but not everybody's obviously going to qualify for it, right? Through I guess we'll call it a combination of circumstances. Maybe we were a little too aggressive on the goals. Maybe collectively, I think that we expected some people to put in more of an effort. That we had a higher disenrollment rate than we were expecting on a lot of the WellCare sales, much higher, 20% higher than we designed. Basically, not a lot of people are trending for this, and that was not our goal, is to try to design something that nobody can qualify for. So we're going to be modifying some of this and communicating out to some of the people who are close. So my message is keep working hard, keep following the metrics and the guidance is there, and we'll be reaching out to you with some more clarification on this, because we want this to be something that is attainable. And then again, lesson learned. I feel like this is the 4th year and the 4th time we've done this, and every time I've learned a little bit of a lesson on how to design this. We'll probably go year over year, and we'll probably have a combination of points and potential slots. So we'll just get smarter and better at designing these reward trips. But again, when we've got hundreds of potentially qualifying agents, it's really difficult to always nail these perfectly. So the message is, if you've been close, if you've been trending, don't worry. Anybody that would have hit that as it is for sure going to go, and we may be kind of adjusting some of the parameters on that trip as well. So shout outs. Let's talk about momentum. Adriana, always near the top. She always lives in that flow state of the momentum, always doing well. Mark Warwick, killing it. Migdalia, great job. Bree, same thing. Abe, Bosco, new names on here. Carlos, Ethan, great job. Marcy, Zach, Israel, Anna, Austin, Catherine, Chelsea. Good job, Chelsea. Hey, everybody, the reason why we do this is to celebrate you guys and show you what peers are potentially doing, what's possible. Ask these people, what are some tips and tricks? Slack them, hit them up when they're on their lunch break or whatever. If you're not in the Agent Boost office, if you're not in Tampa or Florida and you're maybe working virtually or remote, Slack these people. I'm sure that they'll share a tip and trick, but really a lot of times there's no secret sauce. It's good, consistent hard work and effort day in, day out, right? That's basically it. That's all I got for you guys. We're going to be I am going to put out some actual performance awards now that we've kind of solidified what we want to do for January, and then we're about to wrap up February. And this is what we're looking for. Best effectuation for January and February, most WellCare, top 3, most overall enrollments, and top rookies. So your rookies are either LOA agents or W-2 or field agents, new agents to the Agent Boost ecosystem. You may not be a rookie in the industry, but you're a rookie to us. So we'll be celebrating you, shouting you out, and have some incentives for you all as well. So that's what I got. Anybody have any questions? All right, you guys are awesome. Appreciate you.